Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video we are going to be both making a guide for a free-to-play in 2025 for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes and making a plan for our free-to-play account. We're going to be starting a free-to-play account starting like shortly from now, maybe tomorrow, and I'll take you through the journey playing everything free-to-play in this new environment for 2025. As things have changed, the game's very different, and with how many Lightspeed bundles we've had, it's just difficult to navigate. So I'm going to take you through it, what we're going to do, and what's the goal, what's the path, I hope you enjoy. Consider dropping a like, subscribe, and let's get into the video. Alright, welcome to the video. Starting off, we're going to say that you don't need to follow this guide. If you want to farm something, farm it. This is just what I believe is most efficient and the path that I'm going to take going into my free-to-play account 2025. Starting off, we're going to start with light side and dark side, respectively, Phoenix and Imperial Troopers. Both teams are relatively easy to get up and going. Each require only one Zeta, so to not maximize their potential, but like get them really up and going. And they're easy to get in the fact that for Phoenix, most are available in Squad Arena, Cantina, Galactic War, with Captain Rex being available in a hard node like number 2, so it's really at the beginning, so you can get them really quickly. Same thing with Imperial Troopers. They're a bit further, but almost all the characters are going to be used till end game somewhere, or whether it's a GL requirement or on other teams. So these two teams are really good to get going early on, and they punch really high. Imperial Troopers can take on most teams just by outspeeding them. Their turn meter train just doesn't stop going, with Phoenix being the same in the sense that they can counter Geonosians, they can counter most teams. They're also really good on defense, and later on at the end game they can even counter Riva with this specific lineup. But you need like all those Zetas, really good mods, but that's something we'll get into later. Moving forward is there's two journey guides starting off this game off with, and that's Grandmaster Yoda and Emperor Palpatine. Emperor Palpatine and Grandmaster Thrawn, which is right afterwards, are both available with the Phoenix team. They're the Rebels for Palpatine, and then Phoenix for Grand Admiral Thrawn. That gets you two journey characters right off the bat. Darth Vader is available in achievements and just naturally by playing the game. You get him, you have to get him for most things, so that's a good trio to start off with. Mara Jade would be really good to throw in here, but she's difficult to get, and Kyrosek heavy. So we're going to skip her for now, though later on at some point in the game you should be getting her. We're going to do Tarkin due to Executrix. Our first fleet is going to be the Executrix, both for Zeta reasons and because mainly Zeta reasons, actually, yeah. Royal Guard is someone you can switch out if you don't want him. I'm putting him because he's a Sith Eternal Emperor requirement, and because he's just good on this team. He's a good tank. But you can put in someone else if you feel like he's too hard to get, because he comes later on like number 7 hard node. It's further along, so you can pick somebody else, maybe TIE Fighter, because you're going to get him in a sec. Geos are good for 2 reasons, Zeta and Darkside Geonosius, and, well, 3 reasons, being JC as well. JC, like Bronzium, Carbonite, there's so many Geonosian teams. It's one of the first teams almost everybody gets because they're really annoying, and a lot of people still don't know how to counter them. More so, Poggle has an Omicron, and a lot of guilds might require the Pogglechron. It's a bit outdated, but it's still difficult to counter early on. So, Territory War is good for Territory War. It's good for the ships, which we're going to need for Executrix, for both Zeta event and for Fleet Arena, and it's just good JC defense team. The Empire team we have right above it is also a counter for this team with Darth Vader and Palpatine, all of them really. It does good to counter it, so you have a counter for it, and you can put on defense. If the enemy guy doesn't have a counter for it, they're kind of screwed. Moving on to Qui-Gon, he should be your first Omicron in the game, ideally. Maybe not the first, but like one of the first. Some people would say first, because he's ridiculous on both offense and defense, especially 3v3. On 3v3 defense, or even just in defense in general, a lot of people underestimate this team, and they throw something light at it, and from there they just keep going, and it just doesn't end well. Even later on, if you don't underestimate it, it still can go wrong. On offense, it can take out almost anything, or especially like early on at least, almost anything it can take out. Take out Geos again right above it. Most of these other teams it could probably take out if your Jedi Knight Anakin's high enough. And then I also added Mace Windu because he's really easy to get, and he has his own ship, a capital ship, which you're going to get. And then Grandmaster Yoda, you should already have him. There's 3 Jedi here. You can get a bunch of other Jedi easily. The event's really easy, so you don't have to worry too much about it. He's also useful for later on, which I'll mention. Bounty Hunters, but the thing with Bounty Hunters, we're going to need them. I'll tell you why in a second. But they're also a really good team. Mando is one of the few characters that has an insta-kill mechanic, and it's just really, really nice. It can counter a lot of stuff. The few other characters are Nihilus, Cal Kestis, a few others as well. But it's really nice to have. There's a lot of utility. You can switch them out too. You can put in other characters, maybe Cad main. You can switch them out for someone else. Same with Boba. It's those 3 that really matter. There's also alternate lineups with Zam Wessel, with there's just a bunch of characters you can use. You can use each of them independently as a leader as well. Bosk is the best one. Bosk is one of the best leaders, and we need him for Houndstooth, which I'll mention in a second. Because our first goal in this game, major farm in this game, that we're going to be farming from day 1, is most people guessed it already, the Executor. The Executor is something that you just need to get. It should be one of your first major farms. It should be your first major farm. Above anything else, it should be your first GL. Ship, but still, it should be the first one because both Fleet Arena and GAC are very important, mainly for Fleet Arena. On GAC, this is almost unbeatable on defense, up till even Erodium. Most people won't beat it. I have it, and I've maybe it lost maybe 3 times in the last 50 games in Chromium and Erodium. It just does not lose often. Even if your opponent has their own Executor, chances are it's on defense or it's still not going to get through because it's not a guarantee win. Executor versus Executor. It's RNG, so unless someone has a Profundity, even then Profundity can still lose to it. It's not likely, but it still happens. Even then it's Leviathan. What's better now is Punishing One, with Punishing Ones brought into the game, the counters for Executor have just went down dramatically. What was once counterable with a really good Negotiator fleet with Marauder is no longer possible. Same with the Finalizer counter. You were able to win like 80% of your matches with Finalizer if you had a good Finalizer fleet, but now it's not possible anymore due to Punishing One. I'm pretty sure there was a Chimera counter that doesn't work as well now. I'm not sure about that last one, but yeah. So we're going to go for Executor, and because we need that Fleet Arena currency if you're running free to play, and if you want to be able to do all your daily refreshes. Speaking of the ships required for Executor, there's quite a few of them. The ones most mentioning are Houndstooth and Razor Crest. Razor Crest is particularly expensive, both because of Beskar Mando, which requires like 500 calorie tech, and Razor Crest not being available in anything but Conquest Proving Grounds and the Fleet Arena shop, which it doesn't show up every time. It shows up like every once in a while, so you have to get it when it comes early on. Get it when it comes, and Houndstooth is just arguably one of the best defensive tanks for ships in the game, which we're going to use in our Executrix fleet. Our Executrix fleet is what's going to be holding us down in Fleet Arena until we get Executor. So we're going to need Houndstooth. We're going to need the Geo ships. We're not going to need them, but we're going to want them because they're easier to get. We want to get Senator's Blood, Boba Fett, maybe whatever we can get to get the Zeta event and to hold off fleets until we get Executor is going to be the way to go, because we need to get those fleet incomes if we want to get to Executor, and we need to save up our the crystals, so that when we are ready to get Executor, we can preferably 7-star it on our first go. It's not required, but I'd prefer to do it second go. Maybe get 4 stars and then get ready to 7-star, whatever. Another thing to note is Punishing One. With Punishing Ones included, we also have to farm it now. The good news is, with Dengar already being a requirement, we don't have to worry about farming an additional character to take up the ship. But we still have to farm Punishing One, which is on the last hard node in the fleet battles. So the good news is you can run this even at 3 stars. It's better to get it higher, but if you don't have to worry about farming it as quickly as the others. Once you're ready with the other stuff, you can start farming punishing one as you get Executor. When you get Executor, it can be like 3 stars, and then from there you just keep farming it slowly as you go. It's fine. Another thing is with Razor Crest, I forgot to mention, is Beskar Mandalorian has its own journey guide thing, journey quest, whatever. Mando and Grief are thankfully available on our Bounty Hunters team, so we already have that ready to go. But we also have to get IG, Cooley, and then Cara Dune, most of which are going to be useless in almost every other situation. You can make a team with Cooley, IG, and Beskar Mando, but it's kind of shit. I mean, it works, but it's up to you. So it's its own separate journey guide, which you're going to have to figure out at some point or the other. So yeah, that's something to mention. Moving on, another team that we're going to go for after we have our fundamental setup and our Executor is going to be CLS. CLS is a bit tricky for a few reasons, one of which is 3 of the characters have their own journey guide, and then Han Solo is not a raid character, sorry, it's an alliance character, guild character, whatever. So you have to get him with the originally it was the Rancor raid, I believe, but now you have to get him with raid currency. So you have to get it in a guild that gets good amount of raid currency, so you can get Han Solo. C-3PO has its own journey guide, which requires the Ewoks. We're going to get the Ewoks team with Kneesaa, Princess Kneesaa. Now she's accelerated, so you can use her to make it an actual good Ewok team. With Princess Kneesaa, the Ewok team pushes up really high and has actual potential, contrary to how it used to be. She also has her own Omicron, which you can consider putting on at some point, so that's worth noting. And she goes into GL Leia, which we'll talk about in a second. Chewbacca, you need bounty hunters. Thankfully, we are already building a bounty hunters team. We should already have one ready at this point, so we can get Chewbacca. And CLS's requirements aren't that bad, and it's not a hard event. Just pop on some good mods, get them up to not even gold. You can do them without it, but you might want to take them up for other reasons, because they're requirements for a lot of stuff. But you can get CLS pretty easily. All this is to get to our second major goal after Executor, which is Galactic Legend Leia. Galactic Legend Leia Organa was arguably one of the best GLs. I don't know too much about Ahsoka Tano, so I can't tell you about that. But Galactic Legend Leia is crazy on defense, crazy on offense, and is also one of the characters that most people are unfamiliar with. If people bought lightsaber bundles back when SLKR came out, they probably have most of the ones that are available. They probably have SLKR, Rey, JML, Sith Eternal, and Jabba with them. If they bought them recently, maybe Sith Eternal and Jabba. But what most people don't have is Leia, because they've been busy farming the lightsaber bundle stuff. So Leia is one of the characters that most people are unfamiliar with, and which grants you an advantage. And she's just really fun to play. She's a good character to have. Another good side for her is that most of her team, if not all of her team, is available in her ideal team is available in her requirements. So once you get her, you're good to go. And a lot of her requirements we're already farming up to this point. We're gonna have CLS up. We're gonna have Kneesaa up. We have Captain Rex from our thing up. There's a few characters like Lobot or Drogon that you have to farm separately, but for the most part, you have a lot of her requirements up there. What I will mention is that another character that you should be going for throughout your entire journey in SWGO, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, is Jedi Knight Luke. The reason being, he is central to 5 of the major characters. He's really major for unlocking your way into a lot of characters. Those being GL Leia, JML, Jabba, Executor, and Profundity, I believe. With a lot of his requirements are needed for GL Leia. And his requirements are also, you need him for JML and Jabba, and in general, he's also really good as well. So you want to get him. You want to start getting Wampa and Hoda as soon as you can with your Get 1 currency. You can also use your raid currency for it, but you don't really need to. Start off with Wampa, put on his Omicron as soon as you can. He should be your second Omicron in the game after Qui-Gon, so get that going. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Then there's also the Hoth Leia that you need. You need her because, she's needed for the Jedi Knight Luke event and for Leia Organa. So ideally you want to get in a guild that does light side territory battles for Hoth, so you can get her from the mission events, and then if you don't do that, you can get her with raid currency, which is also an alternate. Ideally you don't waste your raid currency on this, but It's if you have to, you have to. But you also need her for GL Leia. So most of the requirements for Jedi Knight Luke get you ready for GL Leia, and once you get Jedi Knight Luke, that's a really good team added on. So yeah, that's our journey so far. We're getting some basic fundamental teams. We're going for Executor as fast as we can. Then we're gonna start pivoting, and throughout all this, we're farming for like the characters that you can side farm for Jedi Knight Luke, like Wampa and Hoda and Hoth, Leia, and then some of the characters for CLS. So then we're going to work on that, and then we're going to farm CLS, which gets us into Jedi Knight Luke and Leia, which we'll farm as well. And then after that, you can go for Sith Eternal Emperor, which you should have a lot of the requirements for anyway at the moment because of Executor. Sith Eternal and Executor, a lot of their characters over the line, so you should be pretty close to Sith Eternal. And if you follow the Empire team, that and the teams that I've provided for you, you'll have Royal Guard up, you'll have Tarkin up, you'll have General Veers and Colonel Stark up, all four of which are requirements, and then you also have Jedi Knight Luke up with Qui-Gon. So that's 5 of the requirements right there, just in our basic teams, which translate to Sith Eternal. Same with what's it called? Sorry, I forgot to mention Admiral Piet, which you need for Executor, and there's also like a bunch of others, Darth Vader, the Imperial Bomber. I'm not going to include Executor requirements, but most of the requirements for Sith Eternal will also be done. Alternatively, you can farm him even before you farm Galactic Legend Leia, so that's also an option, but I'm going for Galactic Legend Leia. So yeah, that's just what my preference is. You can decide for yourself which one you go for. After we're done with Galactic Legend Leia and Sith Eternal, the next option is probably going to be Jabba. The reason for that is both Leia and Jabba have their own event quests. And both which give really good rewards. Jabba, for mods, I forgot what Leia's is for, but that's another reason why you want Jabba and Leia above most of the other GLs, because of their event quests, which are unique to them, which makes it really good. So another reason to go for Leia over Sith Eternal, if you're wondering. Lastly, we have Assault Battles. Assault Battles, you have 2 of the teams you already made to this point. 3 of them, actually, will help you in Assault Battles. CLS can take you all the way in its Assault Battle. Imperial Troopers does 2 Assault Battles on its own. And then Phoenix has this Assault Battle that I think it's Secrets and Shadows that it does. The problem with that one is Nihilus kind of annihilates one of your Phoenix characters, which means you can't get the 3 stars, which is what Night Sisters are for. You want to take up Night Sisters like last out of these teams, due to already having a team for Secrets and Shadows. But at some point you're gonna have to take them up for the Assault Battles, because this gives you monthly income, and a lot of it's really useful for Kyrtech, Zetas, relic materials. It's all necessary. For places of power, you need Sith Emperor Malak and Basil Shan. In order to get Malak, you already have Emperor Palpatine at this point. In order to get Malak, you need to get both Revans, and thankfully getting Darth Revan already gets you Basil Shan, and you already have Vader at this point. So it's just Malak you have to get. So you have to get both Revans, which are both really good teams. Darth Revan is crazy. He's one of the best characters in the game. His team's one of the best, and it goes to Malgus. But you also get Jedi Knight Revan, which also works for another Assault Battle, which is Ground War, I believe. So you put Jedi Knight Revan leader. You get Basil and Jolee, both of which are you already get them doing the Jedi Knight Revan event. You already have Grandmaster Yoda at this point, and now it's just getting General Kenobi. Another reason to get General Kenobi is for the Negotiator. You want to spend your Get-To currency, as much as you can of it, on the Negotiator or Malevolence until you get both of them, and then use it for Kyrtech. I'd say go for Negotiator first, because we're actually going to get General Kenobi, and we have more use out of him than we do General Grievous. We're not going to be building a General Grievous team or a Separatist team or anything, because they're kind of out of the way and just not needed until you're going for Padme, maybe. But for now, I'd say get for Negotiator first, and then maybe you can switch over to Malevolence. But I'd say go. This is the path. Also, getting General Kenobi is easier than General Grievous due to the farming methods. You get General Kenobi from the guild store using guild raid currency, so that's easier. And once you get Jedi Knight Luke, you want to put him and Hoda into the lineup, because you can. It's up to you who you switch out. You can. I mean, I don't know who I'd take out. Maybe Bastila and Joel. I don't know about Joel. You can also put either works as leader as well. Both Jedi Knight Revan and Jedi Knight Luke are really good leaders. A lot of people would argue Jedi Knight Luke is better. I am undecided. Both work when you need it. But if you're going to put Jedi Knight Luke leader, make him as slow as possible. Like, put 0 speed ideally on him. Because of his leadership ability, so, yeah. Some final notes, that's what we have so far. From some final things to think about are your guild. You want to get into a Hoth Lights Out guild first off, so you can get the Hoth Leia. Then you want to get into Dark Side Geonosis guild in order to get, to get Watan Bor. Ideally, your guild will transition on its own at some point as they grow. If not, you're going to have to move on. But afterwards, you're going to have to think about getting Reva at some point. Third Sister is one of the best. Her and her team are one of the best in the game and are able to counter most, if not all, GLs in the game currently. There's almost no team that they can't counter. And they're also really good on defense. So you want to go for them. There's going to be a Lightspeed bundle probably for the Inquisitors, but since we're playing free-to-play, we're not going to get it, so we have to think when we're going to farm them on our own. You can farm them early on. Some people say it's best to start straight away going for Inquisitors just so you can get into a really good guild. That is an option if you want. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to farm them after Executor, Leia, and then Sith Eternal. You can put them after Executor if you want. If you go Executor, then get the Inquisitors. I'm going to do it after those two. After the first three, Executor, Leia, Sith Eternal, and then Inquisitors probably. I might get Jabba before them too, because it's just not that high of a priority for me at least, but it should be. It's definitely a high priority overall. So yeah, that's what I have. This is not the complete outline, but a rough outline for free to play in 2025. Most of this will take more than a year, so we'll be back next year. From here, you can kind of decide where you go. You already have a good guideline. A lot of stuff also depends on what your guild needs. If you're in a really good guild, they're going to need platoons for what the third territory battle. I forgot what it's called. You're going to need to take up platoon characters, so you might not be able to farm everything you want. It's just something you might have to take up specific teams for territory war. So we'll see. I'm going to be starting my own free-to-play journey, as I mentioned earlier in the video, so you can follow along if you want to see what I'm doing to do it yourself, or if you just want, I don't know, up to you. I hope this helped. I hope this helped in some way, provoked some thought, maybe reminded you of something you forgot. I don't know. If you enjoyed, consider dropping a like, subscribing, and I'll see you in our first day one of our free-to-play journey. Take care, everyone, and have a great day.